then there was one, the last of a 4-game day in the USL Championship. It all ends here at the Coliseum in the Bay Area as the Oakland Roots welcome Detroit City FC. Happy to have you with us this evening on CBS Sports Golasso Network alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez. I'm Joe Malfa. Warm-ups this evening brought to you by UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. Ricky, Oakland looking to do something they haven't done since last June. That's win 3 straight games in all competitions. And a big reason why they're starting to figure things out, the improvements defensively under Benny Feilhaber.
What Benny Feilhaber has been able to do with their Oakland Roots in their defensive structures, just organize the players ahead of the ball and ahead of Kendall McIntosh. Hackshaw Gaggi have done a good job at condensing the fielding. Tyler Gibson providing that security blanket. He's also instilled a sense of responsibility. Players have to have the ability to win their individual duels in terms of their box defending, and that's why we start to see Oakland Roots starting to turn the corner and gain some momentum. As
they've solidified things defensively, now it's about putting things together offensively. Maury Donor, the right wingback who came across from Detroit City FC on May 30th, has been a really key addition.
Maury Donor has been a fantastic signing for the Oakland Roots, especially in the wide parts of the field. His work rate on and off the ball has been exquisite, but he's also formed a nice relationship with Panos Armenakis. As Armenakis comes century, that allows Maury Donor to get to that final third where he's produced a lot of quality. Look for Maury Donor to be active in that final third for the Oakland Roots here tonight.
Coincidentally, things have started to go downhill for his former team after he left. I don't think there's a correlation there, but as you look at the numbers, first 7 games, last 7 games, they have less than half of their points comparing the 2 stretches.
It starts with the mentality for the Detroit City side and Danny Dichio. They need to go back to the basics. What made them so successfully in prior seasons, they've been really good defensively. Their work rate, their intensity has been top-notch. If you can go back to doing those things well, now you can instill some confidence and let your players high up the field get on the ball and be more confident as well.
It's not all bad. The one in that 1-3-3 was last game when they took down Miami FC. Need to build on that here out west.
For Danny Dichio and Detroit City, there was glimpses of how good they can be with the ability to combine off of players and then also go 1v1 and really
Since the last time out in regular season play, both these teams had wins last week in Jägermeister Cup. It'll be a 3rd straight win in all competitions for one of these 2 sides. It's the Oakland Roots and Detroit City FC next.
Sana, sana.
Sana, sana, colita de rana.
Sana, sana, colita de rana. Si no sana soy.
Sanará mañana.
Learn about low to no-cost health insurance with Anthem Blue Cross, so you and your family can sana sana.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You might not be related, but you're still family. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart and a whole lot of muscle. Because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Medalla, the mark of a fighter.
City by the Bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge.
A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
The USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. And tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross. Let's meet the starting lineups this evening, brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross, beginning with Benny Feilhaber's Oakland Roots.
That front three, Peter Wilson will stay as high as he possibly can, which allows Wolfgang Prentice just to search the game. Maybe it is coming underneath, but also providing the width, but everything is going to come on the right-hand side. Armenakis will come century to play in between lines as a number 10, so expect Maury Donor to work up and down that right-hand side to provide width, but also to create an overload to get balls into that central locations. Peter Wilson, big challenge for him to score a goal tonight.
Similar setup on the other side for Danny Dicchio and Detroit City FC.
It starts with Williams and Jope. Those two players need to do a good job at just staying at home and splitting the difference, as Jope will be more of a box-to-box number 8. Ryan Williams will drop in right in front of that back three, and a big challenge for that back three to be compact at keeping everything in front of them. Michael Bryan is going to be the leader in that center back role.
Ready to get things going here at the Coliseum. It's Oakland in the black and mosaic from right to left. Detroit City FC in the white and green from left to right. Greg Dapka, the referee this evening. And away we go. Happy to have you with us this evening on CBS Sports Golazo Network with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Both the Roots and Detroit City FC looking for a third straight win in all competitions. Axhaw looking over the top. Julian Bravo down that left side. Of tweaks in terms of the lineup for Oakland from what they put out last game in the Jägermeister Cup. Ditto for Detroit City on the other side. But both sides pretty much rocking a regular lineup as we take a look at the injury report brought to you by UCSF Health. Just Ben Morris on the Detroit side, nothing on the Oakland side.
Good early opportunity here for the Oakland Roots as Armenakis and Tyler Gibson stand over it. Sometimes it's not the initial ball, it can be the secondary action that can really cause concern to Danny Dicchio and this Detroit City back line.
Bench is currently engulfed in the sun. Some glimmers of sun on the field. No trouble here. It'll be for Carlos Herrera in goal. Fake going quick. Armenakis. Oh, it's Gibson that curls it ahead. It's a decent acting job. Didn't quite work out.
Did it fool you?
No. And now a free kick the other way for Detroit City.
I think it fooled Detroit City as well, doing a good job at dropping in unison and not allowing any Oakland Roots player trying to get behind them. This is the start of a little bit of the new we see under Ben.
Running quickly by Cedeno. Sheldon giving it a run down to the end line. Out for another throw. Talking about Maury Donor on the Oakland Roots here this evening. Coming over from Detroit City back in May. Not the only player on the field tonight going up against his former club. Jesse Cedeno, big part of what the Roots were doing in the early part of last year before he went Detroit's way. There he is again, Cedeno. Getting it inside, but intercepted by Oakland. Gibson. Prentice. Plays a long ball out toward Maury Donor. At least that was the intention, but it spun away.
A little bit of the glimpse of how explosive Maury Donor will be on the right-hand side. Good idea from Wolfgang Prentice, just trying to change a point of attack. The execution was lacking a little bit, but good start here for the Oakland Roots.
Masnawi. It's a foul called against Eli Jope. A couple of players that have really stuck out and impressed Benny Feilhaber to the point that he started them regularly when they didn't really have regular roles previously. Gagi on the back line on the ball right now, and Masnawi in the defensive midfield.
Masnawi's done a really good job at forming a relationship with Tyler Gibson in central location. Masnawi very comfortable with the ball at his feet, likes to combine, but can also run with the ball and really unlock the opposition. So the understanding of the space between Tyler Gibson and El Masnaoui, how do you negate the ball into Cedeno, because he's going to be the pocket player for Detroit City going forward.
Bravo with one of the worst throw-ins you'll see. Teams don't spend enough time on that, huh?
Ball slipped out. You can't help that. Come on.
Cross to Michael Bryant. On a night like this, Ricky, where both teams are set up similarly in terms of the shape, call it whatever you want, a 3-4-3, a 3-4-2-1, both similar in the shape. What ends up dictating things when you have two teams that are almost mirror images?
Number one, the willingness to win your individual duels, right? You have to have that mentality that it's me versus you and I am not going to lose, but also off the ball movement. If you can run and really manipulate your individual marker to pull space out for a teammate, that is going to give your side some success going forward. So sometimes, especially the strikers in this instance for Darren Smith and Peter Wilson, making those selfless types of runs will be key to open up your attack.
Hackshaw through for Wilson, dropping in deep to receive. On that back line tonight, a milestone for the Oakland Roots. Sky Green making it to 250 USL Championship regular season appearances. That back line of three, Green, Gagi, and Hackshaw, is really impressed Benny Feilhaber in the 4 games in all competitions that he's been in charge of this group. He said their chemistry is unmatched. Just their understanding of the spaces, the relationship between them, playing the ball amongst each other as they try to play out and build out. It's just clicked right away for those three.
For a coach like Benny Feilhaber, being comfortable on the ball is always top priority, as he was a number 10 in his playing career, and that's exactly what you get from Kai Green, Gagi, and Hackshaw, the ability to break lines with their passing and also be very comfortable under pressure.
Here's Donor. First chance for Maury Donor. Joining the Roots, making his debut in Jägermeister Cup against Avialta. Been a spark every step of the way. The Avialta game turned out to be the last match for Gavin Glinton. He's kept that starting role since under Benny Feilhaber. Rewarding his new club. Good to see there was also no official agreement between these clubs where you don't play against your former team. That is one of my pet peeves around the game globally. They're selling you. Why do they not want you to play against them? If they thought so highly of you that they're selling you,
I understand the loan aspect, if it is that, but it's a direct transfer player for Maury Donor and Cedeno going back the other way. You know there's going to be a little bit of motivation
absolutely
individually for those two players. So now how do you channel that kind of intense approach to this game?
Ball control early on for Oakland. As this game goes along, I think the expectation would be for the Roots to dictate the possession. Prentice lobbing, looking for Wilson. Here's Cedeno. Creative player, great left foot. Tries to go with the outside of that left foot here, but it's an easy gather for McIntosh.
Yeah, it's the right idea from Cedeno, trying to play into Smith, who makes a really clever run, trying to loop himself to allow the ability to stay on side. Such an important piece for Detroit City. 7 goals, 1 assist on the season. Darren Smith, he's been quite the addition for Danny Dicchio.
Has been quiet though lately. 7 goals in the regular season. Has also added goals in other competitions, Jägermeister Cup and Open Cup, but he hasn't found the back of the net since May 31st in the Jägermeister Cup against Portland Hearts of Pine. It's a 4-game goalless drought for Darren Smith at this point. And if you broaden that further, from May 7th through today, that goal against Portland Hearts of Pine is his only goal. So it's been quite a drought after he came out of the gates very hot. He scored in 5 straight games leading up to this drought.
His movement is what I think sets him apart, that makes him a really dangerous forward in USL Championship. Very underrated what he does off of the ball. So if you are Hackshaw, Gagi, and Green, communication, understanding every point where Darren Smith is will be the key to get a clean sheet here.
Prentice lays it off. Gibson, his pocket picked.
Great repress from El Masnaoui just to condense the field in front of him and keep this game in the attacking final third for the Oakland Roots. And that is something that if you are Benny Feilhaber and the retained possession that you're going to be really pleased about. 39 minutes in, Joe, we just see how comfortable the Roots are in possession, especially playing off of one another.
This is an interesting game tonight in terms of the standings for both of these sides. Detroit City in the east, Oakland in the west. For Detroit City, they actually fell a spot in the standings this weekend after Pittsburgh's win last night. In the live standings, they overtake Pittsburgh again with the 1 point that this result would give them. If Oakland wins this game, Detroit goes back down to 6th. So it's tight right now, from 4th really down to 8th in the Eastern Conference. For quite a while after the really hot start they had, Detroit City was sitting up there 3rd, 4th place without a care in the world. All of a sudden, North Carolina, Pittsburgh started stringing wins together and overtook Detroit City coming into the day. Part of that drought we showed you earlier, top of the broadcast, 1-3-3 in the last 7 games. 0-3-3 before their win last week against Miami. You could afford a stretch like that if the teams around you are also losing, but the teams around them were winning, and the teams ahead of them in Louisville and Charleston continue winning to pull further ahead. So it was a very poor stretch for Detroit City in terms of what that stretch meant in terms of the standings. Taken by Donor. Donor knocked away, out for a throw.
Good battle from Villanueva and Maury Donor on that far side. 2 players that are electric within their work rate, very direct-minded to work up and down and provide some width and an attacking overload. So that is a battle that you need to continue to watch throughout this 90 minutes.
Free kick for Oakland, some shoving going on after the play. Armanakis getting up. Job and Smith trying to cool things down. Kai Green coming in to play peacemaker as well.
Armanakis does not take kindly to it. Not the best at first touch, so he's already going away from goal. But if you're a Joe, you do not need to go into this challenge like this. Panos is going nowhere. Just move your feet, make him play negative, and your job is done. On a signaling to our referee, Greg Dopka. That's the 3rd time that we've seen Joe put a really difficult challenge on.
I think what you said there is what really puts it over the top. In and of itself, it's not a horrible challenge, but the fact that Job has already had a couple of those today, the players take note.
Well done from Kai Green and Darren Smith to just diffuse the situation and come between Armanakis and Job.
Looped in by Armanakis from the free kick. Mensah heads it clear. On the other side for Oakland in terms of the standings, they actually came into today last place in the Western Conference as a result of some of the other happenings across USL Championship this weekend, including Lexington beating Phoenix last night, and still in the live standings, Oakland sitting bottom. But you see there, the difference between 12th and 8th is 3 points at the moment. So a win tonight, Oakland goes right up against that line, tied with Orange County and Lexington. And then you're talking about a very, very tight race all the way up to 5th place, Sacramento on 20 points. Had a conversation with Benny Feilhaber about these standings in the West. He said, look, it's anybody's guess at this point. Even New Mexico sitting atop the table right now on 25 points. He said he's watched some of their games, and even they haven't really been pulling away from teams in the way that Louisville and Charleston have in the Eastern Conference. It is going to be an all-out brawl in the Western Conference all season long.
You just mentioned how tight the Western Conference is, but if the Oakland are able to pick up 3 points here mentally, it's going to be a massive win for them, because in the Coliseum, 1 win, 4 losses, 2 draws. You need to continue or try to make this place a fortress, and a good opportunity here at home when you're playing one of your best type of football in 2025.
To give you a sense, first and last in the West are separated by 10 points at the moment. First and third in the East are separated by 11.
Incredible.
That's more of a testament to Lou City, I think, than anything else, but still. Head for Villanueva, chased down by Green. Villanueva looking for Smith, headed away by Gagi. Job wins it. Back and forth they go. Haven't seen much of Detroit City on the ball in the attacking half in the early going.
And mostly one-way traffic in favor of the Oakland Roots. So really important next 5 minutes here for Danny Dico and Detroit City, just trying to slow the game down and instill some confidence within the side. And it starts with Williams and Job, the engine of this side. Put your foot on the ball, slow it down, get some players' touches, and get them in a rhythm.
Foul goes against Julian Bravo. Roots fam, the 2025 jerseys are here, celebrating the return of the Coliseum and the legacy of Oakland sports. Fresh look, same Oakland spirit. Don't wait, get yours today. Shop now at shop.oaklandrootssc.com. Quarter of an hour gone, still scoreless between Oakland and Detroit City. Oakland has never beaten Detroit City, and that even goes back to these two teams being opponents in Nisa back in those days. Job, very involved in the happenings early on here. Eli Job making just his second start of the season. Earns a corner here for Detroit City. Made his season debut back on June 14th against Loudoun. Started the last game against Miami, and of course here tonight.
On and off the ball, his positioning is a lot different. On the ball, expect him to push higher next to Cedeno, almost playing as dual 10s underneath Rutz and Smith. Ryan Williams will be that single pivot, and doing that, now you have more options that you can play in between lines, but also more support for your two strikers higher up the field.
Whipped in from the corner, headed clear by Bravo, not far enough. Detroit City sets up again, Villanueva floats it wide. Loose in front, Sheldon stabbing at it, it deflects wide. And out for a goal kick. Sheldon pleading his case. It did look like it came off him last. We'll get a closer look at it.
Fantastic ball in here from Cedeno just to put it into the mixer. And as this ball is pinballing around, again, secondary actions, utmost importance for defensively, but also Matt Sheldon does get on the end of it. Axel doing just enough at the last second to come across. And it's a good call from Greg Dopka that Matt Sheldon does take the last touch.
Sheldon, another interesting case for Detroit City. Hadn't really featured much at all through the first portion of the season. All of a sudden now, locked in as a starter, making his third straight start after he just had 86 minutes and 3 appearances in the first dozen games of the season. Veteran of this league, turned 33 in mid-August. Joining style this year with Roots Premium seating from the all-inclusive Club Oak to field boxes or dugout seats. Great options for any occasion. Secure your tickets now. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144.
Detroit City doing a good job defensively, sitting into a 5-3-2. So you have Cedeno pulling to the right-hand side of Williams and Job, and Connor Rutz and Smith will be the two strikers, just condensing that field, making it really tight. So now we talk about that selfless types of runs that you need out of Peter Wilson, but also the work rate and the positioning of Maury Donor and Julian Bravo need to be a little bit more aggressive, because if you do that, now you pin back that line of 5 and allow Armenakis Elmasnawi to fill in the gaps in between center back and outside back.
Cedeno worked out to Sheldon. Sheldon sneaks it through. Hackshaw clears.
Good 10-minute stretch here for Detroit City.
Just about to say, and of course we jinxed it, they were starting to get a foothold in possession after it was very much dominated early by Oakland. I'll blame that one on you. You initiated that.
Always blame it on me, Joe.
Light schedule day, only 4 games on this Saturday in the USL Championship. The one most important result, I think, for both these teams, it went Oakland's way and did not go Detroit City's, in another East versus West matchup. Indy 11, 3-0 win over Monterey Bay. So it put, for the time being, Indy 3 points back on Detroit City. And for Oakland, it's another team that they're chasing. It sees no points added to their ledger. And I don't know that there's a team sinking harder right now across all of USL Championship than Monterey Bay.
Just started so hot under Jordan Stewart. Were the surprise alongside Miami FC in 2025, what they've been able to do to start this USL Championship season, but as of late, lost their identity. No real threat going forward, leaking goals left and right, so a lot of work cut out for Jordan Stewart and Monterey Bay.
In a wave up, quick give and go, pulls back instead. Villanueva turns 23 in 4 days. One of those players that feels like he's been around this league forever. He sort of has. Started very young with Tacoma 6 years ago as a 16-year-old.
What were you doing at 16?
Not that.
FIFA?
FIFA. It's the AFC now, but.
Well, back then it was FIFA.
That's fair. I'll tell you what, though, it's no eFootball. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball, free to play. Download now. I will say at 16, I was probably playing JV soccer and contemplating my future because I wasn't great, but. No, what grade are you in at 16? That's sophomore year? Yeah, it was JV.
JV?
JV. You were at Shattuck at 16?
Shattuck at 16.
Big things were ahead of you. Not so much for me.
Oh, stop.
Eddie Dicchio steely-eyed as he looks on. Awkward coming together there. Slowly back to his feet, Gagi.
I haven't seen enough of the two strikers in this game for their respective clubs. Darren Smith only 3 touches, Peter Wilson only 7. That tells you the type of game, the cagey affair that we've seen through the first 22 minutes here. For Darren Smith, you need to be a little bit more available within your movement, dashing off of the shoulder of Gagi and Hackshaw, and for Peter Wilson, be that vertical threat. If you do run in behind, how good can you be in your hold-up play? Because too many times when the Oaklands have played into you, you've gotten bumped off the ball far too easily.
Given away by Prentice. Prentice has really caught the eye of Benny Feilhaber. Actually wore the captain's armband last week in the Jägermeister Cup. We asked him about that in our conversation this week, and he said, look, it's a player that has really shown a lot, starting young, Roots Academy, going on a couple of loans the last couple of years, now carving out a role in this team. Instead of just giving the armband last week to somebody like Navel Hackshaw, who doesn't need it, who's entrenched as a leader, wanted to see if Prentice could sort of grow to fit the armband and motivate him that way. Dangerous ball all the way across here. Seemed like a couple of guys had a stab at it there for Detroit City, but it comes all the way through for Cedeno now. Cedeno wants to get to his left foot if he can. He does. He delivers. He flicks away. Settled by Villanueva. Cleared. Oakland will know all too well that Cedeno wants to get to his left foot. As Shane Wheat tries from a distance. Still battling in the box. Hackshaw heads it along. Cedeno tries to bring it down.
Just look how deep Oakland Roots are sitting. All 11 players within 45 yards of their defensive goal. Just tells you the momentum that Detroit City is continuing to grow.
Bryant floats the ball. Villanueva comes in, crashes in the donor. Referee deems it clean. Villanueva cycles back for Amu Mensah. Floated back post. Sheldon sneaking in. Heads it square. Smith was there. So too was Navel Hackshaw. Can't clear it though. It's been an issue over the last month or so for Navel Hackshaw. Just some moments like that where he loses concentration as he looks to clear. For a goal kick, and they can finally catch their breath.
Just not good enough for the Oakland Roots within their defensive structure. far too easily that Matt Sheldon can get off the shoulder of Julian Bravo at this second post. You need to be able to see the runner, but also track the flight of the ball. Fortunate, Hackshaw is there to make a play on the initial ball, but you need to clear your lines if you are the Oakland Roots. You do get one bite at this apple. You need to put it as far away from your defensive goal as you possibly can.
Bravo slipped through on the give and go. As Prentice and Wilson. Wilson darting back post, square to the penalty spot. Donor was trailing. USL on CBS kicks off July with a hot showdown in the championship. Last season's runner-up Rhode Island takes on Northeast rival Hartford Athletic on Saturday, July 19th. That's at 4 Eastern on CBS. El Clamico.
Fan of the name.
Big fan. Anybody who has said otherwise is wrong. Plain and simple.
Just a bit too predictable right now for the Oakland Roots going forward. And it starts with the lack of movement within that front line. You need more out of Panos Armanakis, whether it is coming to feet and being part of the build-out phase, but also understanding that if Peter Wilson does make a run in behind, now you need to occupy that number 9 role. Everything has been in front of Shane Wheat, Michael Bryant, and Devin Almumenso. Makes their life very comfortable, and especially on the road, if you are the Oakland Roots, the top priority is what you want is to turn that back line and make them face their own goal, which has not happened yet.
Oakland has not taken a shot yet in this one officially. Maybe it changes here. Donor feeding it through. Scooped by Herrera.
Fantastic recognition here from Maury Donor, but left side of your screen, I want you to watch Peter Wilson. He needs to slash across this near post. He needs to cut that pass out. It's a perfect ball for Maury Donor. As a number 9, it is textbook run to hit that near post, because if you do, and you do get on the end of it, it's an easy tap in. But if not, the last thing, at least you pull out one of the 2 center backs to open up space for a teammate. Those are the little nuances that you need to have that ruthless mentality under Benny Feilhaber if you want to score goals.
Goal scoring has still been an issue. We showed you that graphic top of the broadcast and how much things have improved defensively for Oakland. Last game in the Jägermeister Cup, the 2-1 win over Monterey Bay. Those are their first 2 run-of-play goals in 4 games under Benny Feilhaber. The only other goal, they scored a penalty in the win over Birmingham. So generating goals from the run-of-play has been difficult, but he's been really encouraged by what he's seen, especially that Monterey Bay game, about finally putting the pieces together in the attack.
Done a really good job at just getting into the final third. The Oakland Roots have. But now it's that next step in the progression. What do you do? How clean and clinical can you be when you are in that final third? And it starts with the movement or the want to get on the end of service. And that is, if you're Peter Wilson, you're going to look at that replay and say, I need to sell out and just slash across. Because if you do, you beat Herrera to that ball, and most likely it's in the back of the net.
Actually asked Benny Feilhaber to put a percentage to it. How close do you think this team is to hitting that ideal benchmark and what you want them to look like in the attack? And he refused. He said, I don't really want to put a number to it because I don't really know what the potential of this group is. Still only being here for 4 weeks, he's not quite sure what that potential is, and he doesn't want to cap it because he says the minute you think that a team is playing at a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, after they moved up from a 4, well, now what was a 10 actually becomes an 11, and you don't really know what the target is that you're chasing.
You also don't set expectations, right? Obviously giving this Oakland Roots side a long pathway and runway just to be the best that they possibly can be. And he understands what Benny Feilhaber does is it's going to be step by step at building this new project, at implementing his ideas and how he wants to go about his business.
Set piece to deal with here defensively for Oakland. Donor comes away with it. Back through just beyond his reach and not quite enough to get all the way through for Wilson.
Right idea for Panos Armanakis. He sees Peter Wilson. He just needs to lift that ball and put it out in front. Unable to generate enough power. Good step.
Armanakis on it now. Really seen a rise in his level ever since Feilhaber took over. It's a big night tomorrow for Benny Feilhaber. The USA-Mexico Gold Cup final. That's really what put him into the spotlight back in 2007. He scored that terrific volley in the 2-1 win over Mexico at Soldier Field. He said he'll be locked in and watching, and he is not hiding his allegiances. Don't tell Jurgen Damm that if you see him in the hallway at the facility.
Bet you those two have a nice little bet going on.
I would imagine so. Green turns it upfield.
Really well done there by the two center backs.
Armanakis, Donor, those two combining again. Did so very dangerously last week against Monterey Bay. Now for an Oakland throw. One thing that Benny Feilhaber noted about Armanakis and Donor in their relationship, as they get going more and more, you have the option, of course, for that ball through to Donor, but that then becomes a decoy that can allow Armanakis to come in on his preferred left foot and have a go-at goal, which he did a couple of times against Monterey Bay.
Just throws a wrinkle in the way that they attack the Oakland Roots. That's a bad giveaway. Good challenge from Gaggi to recover.
Prentice wins it back further up the field. Prentice past his first man, still with it, now brought down clean from Matt Sheldon in the eyes of Greg Dapka.
Just have a really good balance now, the Oakland Roots going forward, because you have Wolfgang Prentice that can almost be a hybrid. He can play wide and go 1v1, but he can also, just like we saw, play centrally and combine or go, obviously, create on his own as well. Panos Armanakis is a pocket player. He needs runners off of him, so now you have a different look on both sides of the field, but you also have a bit of fluidity in the way that you approach the game, because like you mentioned, as Maury Donor goes wide, he's been so successful as of late. Teams are going to recognize that. Now they're going to shift out a bit quicker, and that's when the decision-making of Panos comes into play.
Half an hour gone, and this one still no shot yet taken by Oakland. 2 shots for Detroit City, neither side with a shot on target. We're going to have you with us this evening on CBS Sports Golazo Network with Ricky Lopez Espin and Joe Malfa. Final match of the day in the USL Championship. Come tomorrow. Highlight of the day tomorrow is Charleston and North Carolina on CBS Sports Network. Handball goes against the Roots. You can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on Tudana, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches available in Spanish throughout the rest of the season. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
Detroit City's done a really good job in terms of their box defending, their positioning, not allowing any clear-cut opportunities for the Oakland Roots. A team that struggled as of late. Defense was always going to be the top priority to solidify the foundation within your side for Danny Dicchio.
Wilson, nice turn. Couldn't find the handle. Favorable bounce for Oakland, but Prentice unable to get there. Bryant. Looking long. Smith commits the foul as he comes into Gaggi. Oakland Side is Oakland's nonprofit newsroom, providing you with the reporting and information on the stories that matter to you. Oakland Side, news for Oakland. Prentice comes in awkwardly on Sheldon, and that'll be the first card of the match.
The difficult ball to deal with from Gaggi as he just lifts it off the ground a little bit. Wolfgang Prentice's first touch gets away from him. And as he tries to recover from his mistake, he catches Matt Sheldon in a hard challenge, deserving of a yellow card.
Oakland route. USL stands over it. Mensah tracking it, so too is Kai Green, who wins the header. Now he brought down. Advantage played by Greg Dapka. Armanakis on his preferred left foot, goes through for Peter Wilson.
You have three real options if you are Panos Armanakis here. As you do recover this ball, you have Wolfgang Prentice to your left-hand side, but you also have Peter Wilson. You need to play that ball right now. If you do not play that ball, then you need to go yourself, because you do have time to continue to push the tempo. There's just no window to try to lift this ball in, and that is the result. It's a lack of decision-making in this action for Panos Armanakis.
Sheldon keeps it alive. Hackshaw trying to think of where he wants to go with this one. Donor on an island up there. I don't know if Oakland loves that. They want to get him the ball out in space. Hackshaw trying to launch it that way if he can. Now it's Stoner's way. Almost now it's the third time already from Job, remember, and that's why Armanakis is coming in. Referee Greg Dapka did that pantomime count of all the fouls against Job about 12 minutes in. 25 minutes have passed, so I guess his radar tracks back a little bit, and there's not as much heat on Job, but Oakland very much wanted a yellow card there. And this injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities.
The same reason why we see Benny Fehlhaber giving our fourth an earful, same as Maury Donor, because it's continuing to be Job that fouls these Oakland Roots players. At some point, you need to show him a yellow card if you are Greg Dapka, just to control his actions.
Could have used an injury timeout for our producer today. Maria hobbling in on crutches. Get well soon. Floated toward Wilson. Wilson back to goal. Runners there with him. Almasnawi spinning, pulls down. Jesse Cedeno who was trying to break free. And Almasnawi into the book.
Did not have a transitional moment here from Almasnawi. Professional foul from the young center midfielder, because if he does not make this challenge, Detroit City is off to the races. He knows exactly what he's doing. Big challenge for El Masnaoui now in terms of his decision-making and positioning for the remainder of this game. And well wishes to our producer, Maria, got caught in the hood of hurricane, hurt her knee.
I mean, if you're at an airport and you're on an escalator, just be nice to people, right? Like, that's all we'll say. Get well soon, Maria. 5 minutes to go in this half. Neither side still with a shot on target.
And a super cagey affair between two teams that are set up very similarly in the way that they go about their tactics. We're just asking for someone to produce a little bit of individual brilliance. There's just too much talent on this field not to have a shot through 40 minutes here.
I asked you earlier, two teams that are set up similar in terms of their approach to the tactics. What happens? Well, I think what's happened so far is they just completely cancel each other out.
Just also hasn't been as clean as both of these managers have probably wanted it, especially in that final third. It needs to be at a higher tempo, more movement, and again, it comes with that ruthlessness of wanting to score goals and wanting to apply pressure.
Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy of the Big Leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Donor. Wilson. Drops it back inside. El Masnaoui fighting off defenders. He's on a yellow, has to be careful as he fights off himself. Bravo. Gibson stepping up. Out wide to Bravo. I think the next part of the evolution, Ricky, for the Oakland Roots is finding a complement at left wing. This one floated across toward Maury Donor. But it's finding somebody who can produce on the left side the way that Donor does on the right side. So you're not predictable. You're not one side heavy as they have been at times.
Well, it goes back to the point that we were talking about with Wolfgang Parentheses, almost as a hybrid in that number 10 role, doing two jobs with one type of player, right? Because Bravo's not going to be the player that.
Armanakis on his left foot. Armanakis looking back post for Prentice. Sheldon flicks it away. First corner of the evening coming up for the Roots, powered by Ava Community Energy.
Good idea here for Panos Armanakis, trying to lift this ball into that back post area for Wolfgang Prentice to run onto it. Also have a shot himself about 25 yards out. His first touch just slows him down, and that gives Alma Benson the ability to step up. Good positioning in the end for Matt Sheldon.
First of the evening, brought to you by Ava Community Energy. Right in front of the supporters here at the Coliseum. Gibson and Armanakis stand over it. Armanakis the out-swinging option. Gibson the in-swinger. First, Greg Dapka comes in for a word. Be Armanakis on the volley. It's all wrong from Hackshaw, and he is called for the foul as well. That is two big men coming together at full speed in Hackshaw and Amu Mensah.
Talked about the cleverness from set pieces for the Oakland Roots. Notice the amount of traffic right on top of that 6-yard box, pinning Detroit City towards a goal line that opens up the space for Hackshaw. He just takes his eye off of it. And that is a lot of contact between two players that you do not want to mess with. Amu Mensah and Hackshaw.
I've not seen someone lay that kind of wood in this venue since Antonio Pierce in his linebacking days for the Oakland Raiders. That was a very difficult coming together there. Well, the Roots fans loved it. They are still carrying on. In the meantime, Amu Mensah and Hackshaw are slowly getting to a seated position. give those two guys all the time they need after a collision like that. We'll tack things on to stoppage time at the end of this half. Think about for Benny Feilhaber and Dicchio at the break. Be just 1 minute of stoppage time tacked on, brought to you by KTVU Plus. Powerful header from Gagi. Wilson giving chase, bounces out of play. Physical game, 19 fouls, split 10-9 in Oakland's favor. Possession held consistent. Oakland around 58%. Detroit City around 42. Still just 2 shots for Detroit City, none for Oakland. Neither side with a shot on target. Neither goalkeeper been forced to make a save. There's something late in this half. Sheldon, I'd like to have that one continue to run out in front.
The repress for Detroit City has been really effective. Once they do cough the ball up, notice how aggressive they are in trying to win it back in a more attacking-minded position. So if you are the Oakland Roots, you have to be aware that once you do get on the ball, that pressure is going to be oncoming. So decision-making and how clean you are bypassing the initial line of pressure is going to be really important for Benny Feilhaber, and also to get Emil Snawi and Armenakis in those half pockets of space. For Danny Dicchio, defensively, you've been really pleased, but now you need to get Jaron Smith, Daniel, and Connor Rutz a little bit more connected. A big 45 up.
I think neutral is the best way to describe the first 45 minutes between those two sides. Nothing great happened, nothing bad happened. It's 0-0 going into the break here at the Coliseum. Two teams that really need this result. It's not a must-win by any stretch, but they have both wins in their back pocket from Jägermeister Cup. Both wins last time out in regular season play. Want to keep the good times rolling. More to come from Oakland.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are two of the most important things that you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, visit oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You put on the biggest event of the year every single weekend, surviving the strongest storms, meeting chaos with composure. You roll up your sleeves to roll out the red carpet, because the end of the night for you is the beginning of the rest of their lives. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
O city by the bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge. A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
At the break here at the Coliseum, 0-0 between the Roots and Detroit City. This has been a very busy weekend here on CBS Sports Golazo Network. We started it with a match between Pittsburgh and New Mexico yesterday. Early In their own regard, they were right there above that line to begin the day, but Indy beat Monterey Bay and overtook them both. So a lot is changing in real time in the USL Championship right now. When we return, we'll look around the league with some news, notes, and scores. 0-0 between Oakland and Detroit City.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It doesn't just have great bones. It was the backbone of your community. So you breathe in new life, grinding away to make space for tomorrow, for your people. This isn't just a restoration. It's a revival. Because you're always willing to double down on your neighborhood. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
O city by the bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge. A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
Very neutral first half between Oakland and Detroit City. We'll step away from this for a moment and take a broader look around USL Championship with some news and notes presented by Best Western. The first bit of news and noteworthiness belongs to the Oakland Roots, announcing that long-term extension where they will host their training at the Oakland Raiders' old facility.
And it is theirs for a long time for the Oakland Roots. Just a fantastic job by the Roots organization, but also going to push the standard in USL Championship to give these players the best facilities that they can, to be the best players that they can. And talking about players, Albert Dico, like Dennis, both scoring a hat-trick in the Jägermeister Cup, two talented players, and the rich get richer in the Eastern Conference. Jeremy Kelly to the Charleston Battery. Big game tomorrow against North Carolina FC.
Yeah, that's a big one tomorrow, and that's a big addition. But also keep in mind, Rubio Rubin has been heavily rumored by some reporters publicly now to be on the move out of the Charleston Battery after his terrific Gold Cup run with Guatemala to the semifinal. Seems like he may be on the way out, which is why Jeremy Kelly comes in to bolster things for the Battery. Now, if they're there together, at home tonight for the Oakland Roots, but they were unable to register a shot in that first half. Neither side with a shot on target. We go to half number 2 at 0-0, and when we return, kick between the Roots and Detroit City. A dazzling goal for 20,000 to witness a jubilation.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it.
Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
Pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Back off the goal kick, Williams! In the box, keeper's up, he scores!
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
A dazzling goal for 20,000 to witness a jubilation. The USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. And tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross. Take a look back at highlights from the first half of action. Admittedly, not many. Only 2 shots between these two sides and none on target.
A lot of this game was played in between that middle part of the field, a very cagey affair as Matt Shellen tries to get on the end of it. Eva Hackshaw doing a good job at the last second to come across and just deny the Detroit City winger an opportunity on goal. And then as we go into the 24th minute, again, Detroit City starts to find their rhythm a little bit. Matt Shellen, again, very aggressive at his right back position, tries to head it back across, and Hackshaw to perfection in terms of his positioning. Maury Donor was probably the most active player for the Oakland Roots. And as Peter Wilson just peels off, you need him to slash across that near post run, because this ball for Maury Donor is to perfection for number 9.
Well, the stats really paint the picture here. Oakland controlling the possession, controlling a lot of the territory and the tempo, but it's not a lot done with it.
Yeah, you just need a little bit more bite if you are Danny Dichio and Benny Feilhaber, because the talent is there, but you're just asking for someone to take a little bit of a risk and express himself, whether it is going 1v1 or just pulling up from distance to really test the goalkeepers. And it needs to start with the Oakland Roots, especially when they are at home, trying to make the Coliseum or Fortress a big first 10 minutes for Benny Feilhaber's side to get him in a rhythm and also grow the confidence within the team.
Oakland and Detroit City retaking the field here at the Coliseum. As the players have come out of the tunnel, we see at least one substitution on the way. Wolfgang Prentice has put the penny on it, and it looks like Daniel Gomez will be entering the fold. Gets a yellow card off the field as well for the Roots. Probably pushes Ali El Masnawi a line higher.
Prentice really found it difficult to make his impact felt in the spaces that he would pick up, was caught between two lines. As we do see, Biarahonga as well does have his game kit on. So expect him to come into this game as well.
He'll actually come in for Tyler Gibson, so it is a wholesale change in the midfield for Oakland. You had El Masnawi and Gibson as the defensive midfielders, with Prentice and Armanakis operating as the dual 10s, the way Benny Feilhaber describes it. He'll have Gomez come in for Prentice and Biarahonga come in for Gibson.
You also have a little bit more legs with Biarahonga and Gomez coming in. Their roles are very similar. They have similar profiles, so both players will be box-to-box and covering ground. Biarahonga is going to be able to move more horizontally, and Gomez more north and south. So you have that balance, and that is going to be the engine for this Oakland Root side, because if they do get the ability to get on the ball a little bit more now, that gives Panos Armanakis and Maury Donor the ability to be more aggressive and really put pressure on this back line of Detroit City.
Bosi Biarahonga coming into the fold now with Benny Feilhaber is a little bit behind. He was away on international duty when the coaching change happened, then took some time getting back from that international duty and starting to work his way in with the new coach. Somebody, though, who before that break with the national team had completely taken over that starting role and was thriving in this system, in this league. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get back to where he was now under a new coach. For that awkward phase of the schedule, always great to represent your nation. Of course, and he did so against a teammate, played against one of his Roots teammates in Babukar Njai in the Gambia. So it was a special moment against a teammate on international duty, but it sort of put a break into what was a really strong spell for Biarahonga. Roots going left to right in the black, Detroit City right to left in the white, and we are underway in half number 2. Happy to have you with us on CBS Sports Golazo Network with Ricky Lopez Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Change on the other side as well. Sebastian Guenzati has come on for Detroit City. 3 days ahead of his 34th birthday. Has a chance to do some climbing still tonight in the all-time record books in the USL Championship. 5th most goals since 2020. And all-time, he's in that top 10. He can move a line higher to 6th with a goal tonight. There he is winning it.
And he'll come in for Connor Rudd. So Sebastian Guenzati gives you that typical number 9 type of mentality. Expect him to make secondary runs off of Darren Smith, and so Daniel playing a little bit deeper at pulling the strings in his more preferred number 10 role.
Two changes from Oakland, one key change from Detroit City, and I think that tells you what we both sort of expected out of the first 45, which was that neither Danny Dicchio nor Benny Feilhaber were satisfied with what they saw.
Just not enough action in the attacking third for both of these managers. Danny Dicchio electing to go with that number 2 striker. So now you have more options to play into. So expect Detroit City maybe to be a little bit more direct, especially early on, to get Guenzati up the tempo.
Gagi gives it away, uncharacteristically so, typically so calm and composed on the ball. Like Joe battling. Remember, he had those 4 fouls in the first half. And Oakland wanted penalized with a yellow card, never shown to him. He gets physical again here. Armanakis beating it through for Maury Donor. Wins that foot race against Amu Mensah, cutting in Maury Donor. Well done in the recovery by Amu Mensah, and a foul against Donor.
Fantastic recognition from Panos Armanakis, and the relationship continuing to form for the Oakland Roots. But I just want you to watch the angle of Amu Mensah that he takes. He knows he's beat initially, so what he does, he just goes towards his goal. And doing that, understanding Maury Donor needs to at some point come across. Fantastic recognition of space. Good action for Amu Mensah.
Gomez wins it. Wilson out holding his head. A whistle to stop the play. Injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. obviously not in the locker room privy to the decision-making, but maybe a little surprised not to see Sinistera, the one inserted for the Oakland Roots with Wolfgang Prentice coming out. Sinistera's been very creative in this side for Benny Feilhaber. Even before then, during the Gavin Glinton days still this season, maybe the only bright spot in the attack was Sinistera. Still could, of course, bring him on, and there he is, right side of the bench. Tucked in the corner. Still plenty of time to bring him on this evening, see how the second half plays out. It would have been more like for like to bring him on for Prentice.
Just the growth that we've seen from Sinistera from 2024 into 2025. The energy is a lot higher, the willingness to try things and just be that constant work rate underneath Peter Wilson. It's something that Benny Feilhaber sees. Luck to go El Masnaoui in that box midfield for Oakland Roots.
Herrera splits it through. Job lets it go on by. Guenzati coming together there. Guenzati feeds it wide. Long run to keep it in play. Michael Bryant unable to do so.
Fantastic recovery from that midfield trio for the Oakland Roots, because if Job does get on the end of this ball now, you bypass that whole midfield line. And that is the first time that we've seen Detroit City try to break lines first into Ryan Williams. He gets on the half turn and tries to play a ball in between Biarahunga and El Masnaoui.
Gomez, Wilson. Now he finds Armanakis. Now Armanakis into some green grass, feeding it through for Donor. Ran out of room. He gives a thumbs up. Not a bad idea. Execution not there.
Just a little bit of hesitation from Panos Armanakis. It's a good recognition to start on one side of the field. You go on the other side, and that allows Panos Armanakis to be aggressive. But I just want you to watch. He almost second guesses himself here. Right now, you need to play the ball, but when he takes that second step, that window closes. And it's the second time that we've seen Panos Armanakis not be as decisive as he normally is in the final third.
Carlos Herrera still has had nothing to do aside from handle a few of those passes at the back. 52 minutes. No shots for the Roots. No shots on target for either side. Considering the situations in the standings in the East and the West, and this is getting a little bit too far out ahead with 40 minutes to go still, a point is not bad for either of these two teams. It'd be a pretty agreeable result for both, especially as the Roots are continuing to grow under Benny Feilhaber and Detroit looking to stabilize after a really difficult stretch in the last 7 regular season games, but coming off a win in the Jägermeister Cup, a win before that against Miami. It wouldn't be the worst result, but I don't know that these two teams would like for it to be with the whimper that it's been so far tonight.
Just going back to the point of, for the Oakland Roots wanting to make the Coliseum a place that teams hate to come into play. And the only way that you do that is by continuing to gain points, continuing to gain momentum. And only one win once they play here. An opportunity for Benny Feilhaber to just mentally give a win to his side. And for Detroit City and Danny Dico, they've won 3 times when they've left Detroit. So this team understands how to approach games and how to be successful when they do not play a keyword.
I've not won in the regular season on the road, though, since April 12th. So a lot of that came early when they were having more of that success. season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all of your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. There's some great seats. Where do you like to sit when you go to a game as a fan? I know it's probably been a little while.
I cannot tell you the last time I went to a soccer game as a
say
fan.
that's probably a better question, honestly.
But when I do, as high as I can, so I can see the whole field.
I like to sit behind one of the goals up high.
Okay.
Gives you that tactical view
Nice.
where you're high enough that you're not trying to make out offside on the far side, and you can see everything develop.
Are you a shatter at games, or you just kind of just stay to
Lock
yourself?
in.
Lock in.
Lock in, yeah, lock in.
Okay. Foam figure, popcorn? No?
No.
Okay.
In a way,
Vuvuzela?
almost at the back. Vuvuzela is the worst invention in the history of the world. It was made for the 2010 World Cup, and it never should have left the 2010 World Cup. Thank you for striking a nerve. Al-Masnawi. Hackshaw splitting it through, looking for Bravo, who's on a bit of an adventure up there. Kept alive in the attack. Armanakis sets it up. Panos hits it and scores! That's what he can do! Panos Armanakis, a moment of brilliance, putting the Roots on top.
The tactical sub for Benny Feilhaber has changed the complexion for the Oakland Roots going forward. Yes, you have more numbers, essentially some more options that you can play into, but also it spreads out Detroit City because they have to cover so much ground. And if you allow Panos Armanakis to get his first touch out of his body on his preferred left foot, he's going to find the back of the net 9 times out of 10. Hits it so pure, so good. Dipping away from Herrera, there's no chance for the goalkeeper. It's a fantastic strike from the number 10 of the Oakland Roots.
And his first in an Oakland Roots uniform. Had 3 last season, and a season that he split between Phoenix and Memphis. The year before that, when he helped Phoenix to the title in 2023, scored 4 goals with 6 assists. Looking to recapture some more of that form, and he gets his first of 2025. That'll make Benny Feilhaber happy. As a coach, you always sort of put yourself in the shoes and the mind of the player who's now playing the position you used to play, and that is the position that he used to play. You see a goal like that from your number 10 as a former number 10, you're going to be happy anytime your team scores. You don't care how it's done, own goal, center back, ugly, pretty, whatever, but it means a little bit more when it's the guy who used to be, or you used to be in his shoes, rather.
And it's the first time that we've seen Panos Armanakis be really selfish in this game. Especially in that first half, there was 2 opportunities that I thought he could have gone on himself and really pushed the tempo, especially with the quality. Just really trust yourself a little bit more. But this game has changed so much with the Oakland Roots because now you bring in Danny Gomez as you have a box midfield. And what that does, you have players that you can play into. You have more space because Detroit City, they only have 2, they have a double pivot. So now Joe and Ryan Williams need to make a decision who they're going to step to, who they're going to drop to. So the balance is a little bit out of whack. And in that split second, gives Panos Armanakis the ability to take his first touch and make a decision to have a strike.
And if Oakland holds on to win, it would be their first 3-game winning streak in all competitions since June 8th to 19th last year. They won 3 straight regular season games. It was about a month into Gavin Glinton's time as the head coach after he took over for Noah Delgado. Now this is about a month into Benny Feilhaber's time in charge for Gavin Glinton. So similar timing for both as the interim head coaches of the group. Goes to show how much of a struggle it was for Oakland down the stretch last year. Yes, they were able to grind out enough points to still make it into the postseason. How poorly they started this season, where it's been a calendar year plus a couple of weeks since the last time they strung together 3 straight wins. Goal came on their first shot of the evening.
Next 5 minutes crucial for both of these teams. In Detroit City side, you want a response. You cannot allow momentum to start to grow here in the Coliseum. And for Oakland Roots, you just hear the fans a little bit more involved, a lot louder willingness willing this side for the Oakland Roots to push the tempo and trying to get that second goal. But Danny Dickey will look for him to lean on his experienced players and try to call himself back into this game.
There's a deflection here. Swing and a miss. High green, but now cleared further up the field. This is where Oakland has excelled, though, after the coaching change defensively. They've only allowed 2 shots tonight, none on target. We showed you the numbers top of the broadcast. When Gavin Glinton was in charge, they faced 12 shots per game, 5 on target per game. They've knocked 2 shots off of both of those numbers so far under Benny Feilhaber. And again tonight, 2 shots, none on target allowed by the Oakland Roots. McIntosh tracking it, has it. Put together a fair bit of clean sheets as well. So against Birmingham last time out in their win. 0-0 draw against El Paso. Already be a 3rd clean sheet. A 3rd win under Benny Feilhaber in just 5 games. Mark now. Detroit City looking for a response. Looked over the top, brought down, and cleared out for a corner by Biarohanga. Oakland with that goal climbs a bit from 12th up to 10th. 3-way tie on 17 points. Orange County and Lexington just 1 point away from that playoff line. So in a very tight Western Conference, that goal and this lead mean a lot to the Roots. Now can they defend it from the corner? Down by Imo Mensah. Chance for the Roots to break out here. Armanakis feeds it ahead. Closed off really nicely by Detroit City. Just when it seemed like they wanted back. Called for a foul. Danny Dickey felt it was a dive. It happened right in front of him by the ad board. Almost now he drew the foul.
Initially, looks like a good recovery from Wheat. Actually does pick the pocket of El Masnaoui. That is also another benefit that you get with bringing in Maury Donor, just the transitional aspect. Ability to look direct first, just put it into his path, and more times often than not, he'll go out and get it.
Detroit City conceding and going behind, drops them a number again down to 6. Pittsburgh overtook them yesterday when it was a tied scoreline and put them back into 5th, now back into 6th in a tight Eastern Conference. As it stands, they would be just 3 points clear of Indy 11. We're in 7th after Indy's win earlier tonight against Monterey Bay, and Indy have a game in hand on Detroit City. Starting to keep standings more top of mind for you at home, as we are a week away from the midpoint of the season. Some teams have already played their 15th game and reached that midpoint. One nicely by Cedeno. Job. Villanueva.
Cheese or pepperoni?
Cheese. I'm not doing stadium pepperoni, no offense. For those of you who couldn't quite pick it up, our field microphone was picking up Pizza Man going up and down the stairs.
Quite the salesman. Just see the difference with Danny Gomez playing at that number 10 role with Panos Armanakis. There's just so much more option that you can play in between lines. You have 2 dual 10s, you have 2 single pivots, and it's one of, if not the most tactical change that we've seen from Benny Feilhaber in possession. and that gives them more options to play through and also lets them be a little bit more aggressive at crashing the attacking 18-yard box.
Here they go again, looking for another. Squared back to Armanakis, the confidence of one goal already, but a heavy touch. Yarahanga from distance does not miss by much. It did take a deflection. It will be a corner for the Roots.
Concession sales, alcohol sales will end in the 75th minute, 12 minutes from now.
5 players now for the Oakland Roots in the attacking third, but I just want you to watch the movement of Peter Wilson. That selfless type of run is exactly what I'm talking about. As he crashes towards the 18-yard box, that allows Armanakis to come underneath. His first touch lets him down, and this is some strike from Yarahanga. Has Herrera scrambling towards his near post and just pulls it wide.
And on cue, as you're heaping praise on Wilson for the movement, that is his last movement of the game. He comes off and Sinisterra takes his spot. A corner on the way for the Roots, brought to you by Ava Community Energy. Gomez, the in-swinger, headed clear by Guenzati. Cedeno. Nice move by Cedeno. One cleanly on that left side by the Roots. Almost now he again doing a lot of the dirty work in the midfield. Job doing the dirty work on the other side for Detroit City. Clean challenge put in by Gagi and a big pump in the fist as well. Almasnawi is the only yellow on the field, by the way, after Prentice was subbed off at halftime. Detroit City preparing 2 subs of their own. Atez Diouf, Jay Chapman, we're told, will be replacing Darren Smith and Ryan Williams, respectively. Here's Sinisterra with Armanakis. Armanakis brought down. Referee's thinking about it. Played through Sinisterra. Works it back looking for Gomez. Not quite sure if Greg Dopka was acknowledging a foul and playing advantage or if he saw it as a clean play. He never raised the arm to indicate advantage, but he was standing right on the spot where the contact happened.
Good action here from Sinisterra. Even better off the ball running from Danny Gomez. Notice top of your screen just slashes across. Bit heavy. That's a foul. No question whatsoever. Matt Sheldon gets none of the ball right in front of Greg Dopka. Needs to blow this whistle. As we see, those subs do come in for Detroit City. Jay Chapman is going to give a little bit more of a solid of a presence in that central location, the ability to break lines. And Diouf, very 1v1 dangerous player. We saw in the open how good he is, scored that goal against Miami FC, so expect him to take chances and push the tempo.
Bringing it back to that moment there for Greg Dopka, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was playing advantage there, even though he didn't signal it because he was standing on the spot. Separate question. Yes, they got him in the box. Sinisterra had the ball. Would you have rather had that attack from Sinisterra or still the free kick anyway?
Free kick, 100%.
Return at home next Saturday, July 12th, 7 p.m. local time at the Coliseum against Phoenix Rising. Individual tickets still available. Get them before they sell out. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144. If Oakland hold on to win this game, they will be looking to slay a beast next week that they've not done in club history in USL Championship. And that is win 4 games in a row. They have never put that sort of streak together. Have to get through the rest of this one first for next week to matter. Try from distance here. McIntosh saw it wide the whole way. That number amazed me when I saw it because it's a team that's made the playoffs in all but one season in USL Championship. Within some of those seasons, they had dug themselves some pretty deep holes that they had to climb out of. they had stretches where it was unbeaten over 5, 6, 7, but never 4 straight wins. So they hold on here, have a chance to do something they've never done next week.
Big opportunity in doing that again at the Coliseum against Phoenix Rising, who they did lose against Lexington, not even having a shot at home. So it's going to be a wounded animal coming into the Coliseum.
Phoenix and Oakland have always been attached to the hip over the last few years. Just with Juan Guerra moving on from the Roots to Phoenix, winning a title there, bringing a handful of Roots players with him to Phoenix on that title team. So it'll be a nice team to get that 4th win against if they can do it. And again, hinges on them holding on here in this one. And they've scored first 3 times this year, won all 3 of those games. Keep that trend going.
Just not enough movement ahead of the ball for Detroit City. Much like the Oakland Roots in the first half, everything has been in front of this back 3 of Oakland. You bring in Guenzati, he is a service number 9, so you need to play into his feet. And as we see Greg Dopka signal that no more fouls on El Masnaoui, he's had himself another really solid game in that central location. But as Guenzati is going to be number 9 that you need to play into his feet, so the responsibility to really run in behind and be vertical is Diouf and Cedeno. But just the balance hasn't been there for Dini Dikio in Detroit.
Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights, plus live matches from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Chance here, Bravo in line, and another corner on the way for Oakland. After that goal, you mentioned it was a really important stretch for Detroit City to try and respond. Instead, it's gone the other way, where the Roots have started to step on the pedal a bit more.
Continue with that momentum, the Oakland Roots, and really using the 12th man, which is the 1,000th in attendance here at the Coliseum. It's the first time that we've seen Bravo get himself into that final third. In the end, fantastic defending from Michael Bryant, leaving his feet.
Powered by Ava Community Energy, second corner of the half of the Roots, start of the match. City readying another change at the next stoppage. Haruki Yamazaki up and ready, told he'll be replacing Abdoulaye Diop. Dikio just tries to find something in the attack. He's already had to pull off Darren Smith, their leading goal scorer with 7, who's in the midst of quite a drought, and ended April scoring in 4 consecutive games, but since then has only scored once. That was back on May 31st. From May 1st to where we are now on July 5th, just 1 goal for Darren Smith. It's quiet again tonight. Dopka continuing to try and make peace here. Not having much success doing so, and just gave Nabel Hackshaw a look that I think many parents have given their toddler in the past.
Same look I give you sometimes.
I've given you that look 3 times tonight. Still having a talking to here. Hackshaw and Amu Mensah are the 2 engaged right now.
Pierre Hungo, Kai Green actually is the one trying to set a pick.
Short from the corner after all that. Rolled back for Armenakis, clipped in, and the whistle goes for offside on that return ball to Armenakis.
Substitution coming up for Detroit City FC.
A really good step here by Detroit City. I just want you to watch their back line. how they step in unison as we take a look at this sub. Right side of your screen, once this ball goes forward, they all step off and clear their line. That is something that if you are Danny Dichio and his staff, you're going to be really pleased at doing everything in unison.
There's Yamazaki on the field now for Detroit City. Only his 7th appearance of the season, has an assist to his name. Spent last year with Northern Colorado in USL League One. Ball ricochets favorably for the Roots. Armanakis to Maury Donor. Detroit City had 2 shots at halftime, not on target. They've added a 3rd shot in this second half, but still nothing on target. Meanwhile, Oakland were shot less at halftime. 2 shots, 1 on target now in this second half, and the goal from Armanakis that came back in the 55th minute. Officially, credit for an assist on that one to Ali El Masnawi. That goes down as his first USL Championship regular season assist. Quarter of an hour remaining here on the Golazo Network. Glad to have had you with us the whole way. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Is there anything Detroit City could be doing differently in the attack,
Movement.
or is it just credit for the Roots defensively?
It's movement. It's a little bit of both. You just need more movement just to break lines. And if you do have that vertical threat, it will pin back and make the Oakland Roots sit a little bit deeper, and that would actually afford players like Cedeno and Jay Chapman more time and space to pick up their head. But as everything is continuing to be in front of this Oakland Roots side, they just condense that space, get all 11 players behind the ball. And breaking down a team that's sitting into a low block is one of the hardest things to do in this sport. So if you are Danny Dichio, you have to be asking for a little bit more of the movement, even though if you do not get the ball, you just show a little bit of a different threat over the last couple minutes here.
That has really been all Kendall McIntosh had to do in goal so far tonight for the Roots. Detroit City have gotten into the final third 31 times. 3 shots to show for it. A big reason why they've been inefficient once they get to the final third. Only 9 of those 31 final third entries have led to them entering the box of the Roots. Gomez around the outside. Yarahanga, he shot from there last time. It was closed down to a bit more quickly that time. Donor. Wanted Armanakis to continue on.
Armanakis on the right side of Oakland Roots.
Minutes remaining. Donor Back to McIntosh. Last time out in regular season play, it was a win by the same scoreline for the Roots. 1-0 against Birmingham. Last time out, it was 2-1 in Jägermeister Cup. It'll be 3 straight 1-goal wins if this holds in all competitions. That win against Monterey Bay did keep them alive in Jägermeister Cup. Detroit City alive in Jägermeister Cup as well. They're going to be one of the more entertaining situations to monitor when we get there on July 26th. The wild card race. And they're playing a League One team at home in a tournament where goal scoring is the name of the game. But goal scoring has been the issue right now for Detroit City. Marcelo Cedeno leaves. Marcelo Polisi replaces.
Number 10, Cedeno.
Polisi has typically sat deeper for Detroit City this year. So bringing off an attacking-minded player in Cedeno for a more defensive-minded player in Polisi, but that's going to push somebody else further up the field.
Just not a lot of attacking options for Danny DQ on his bench. You look at Dominic Gasso, is the only own attacker that can come on and really make an impact felt for this Detroit City side.
Well, right now, just the way the roster's made up for Detroit City, you look at their bench tonight, they didn't have a single defender on the bench. They had 5 midfielders, 1 striker, and among the 5 midfielders, all but 1 are defense-first midfielders. So you only had 2 options to impact the attack. Thankfully, knock on wood, nobody's gone down defensively, but they didn't have a single defender available. So just an awkward spot right now for Detroit City in terms of who was available and the players that are out there on the bench tonight. And nothing has really gone right for them so far to this point in the attack. So you could question Danny DiCchio and ask him if he could have done something differently. The answer is not really. What else would you have possibly done? Sure, maybe you could have reworked the personnel in the starting 11, but then you would have been in that same situation with not much to impact the game off the bench with just different names slotting into the different roles.
The injury to Ben Morris really hurts this Detroit City side going forward, because you look at the distribution of scoring. You have Theron Smith in USL Championship League play 7 goals. Ben Morris was the second behind him with 2. And you had Connor Rutz, who's no longer on the field, to Daniel, who's no longer on the field, and then Michael Bryant had 2 as well. So that is a big drop-off in terms of production for Detroit City. So how do you replace a player like Ben Morris? Really important.
When injuries happen, everybody's first inclination is to think about who slots in the starting 11. And most teams have somebody or a couple of guys who can slot into the starting 11. But the problem then becomes, well, now you have nobody behind that person. So maybe player B slots in for player A in the starting 11, but now you don't really have a player C that can substitute in for player B anymore. And that's the issue Detroit City is running into.
Take it a step further as well, especially when you get into these cups, right? You play against the MLS, you play against the MLS, right? That is a massive drop-off when you see teams needing to go into their bench, right? Because obviously the MLS have to have a bigger salary, they have more investment, they can really have that depth within their roster. And that is a lot of times when you talk to coaches of USL Championship, when they do go against MLS side, to say we can keep it 0-0 as long as we possibly can and go with our best, let's say 14 players versus the 11 for the MLS side. So that is a massive talking point for USL Championship, and understanding how can we start to continue to produce quality, but also have that quality trickle down into our bench, so our depth also has that quality to push the MLS to the brink.
They were active last year in the summer market in terms of loans and bringing players in. The likes of Laurent Kissiedu they brought in. Victor Pizarro was a loanee from MLS. He had some injury issues that never really allowed him to get going. So they've shown that willingness to go out and bring players in if the fit is right in the summer. And after the Ben Morris injury, it feels like they almost have to do something. And still have a chance here, of course, to pick up a result, but it has not been pretty so far. They have not had a shot on target. That could change. Gagi clears, though.
Seen over the last 5 minutes, Amamens is going to have the freedom to be a little bit higher. And he's done a good job in the last back-to-back actions at just keeping this attacking phase alive for Detroit City. At least he's going to drop in and almost play as a second center back next to Wheat. And Amu Mensah is just up there to be caused a little bit more havoc.
Sometimes you just need that one moment of quality, though. Armanakis produced it on the other side for Oakland. If you look at the advanced stats, the expected goals, to give you a sense of how much these teams have created tonight, it's .27 for Detroit City. Not great. Still better than Oakland. Oakland is .09, but they had that one magical finish from outside the box by Armanakis, and that's the difference right now as they lead 1-0. Detroit City will host Hartford next Saturday. Paper a winnable game against a Hartford team that's down in last place, but as Oakland pick up a free kick here, that's a difficult game all of a sudden against Hartford, who have been playing really tough. Some ties against good teams, Louisville and Indy, tight 1-goal losses against Charleston and North Carolina, and their last time out, they beat Loudoun 3-0. So that is not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination at home for Detroit City next week against Hartford Athletic. Then it's a home game against a Pittsburgh team that just overtook Detroit City in the standings. So this is a bad time right now to be hitting a bit of a slump, or continuing rather a slump, as they're 1-3-3 in their last 7. Alex Sieve ready to come on for the Roots. In the meantime, Armanakis hits the free kick. The header by Gagi, square, own goal. Gagi creates, says thank you very much, and the Roots go up by 2.
Put the ball in a dangerous area, you will get rewarded. And it comes off of a no-nonsense free kick given by Detroit City to the Oakland Roots. Fantastic placement on this ball from Armanakis, and this is all about Gagi wanting it more and beating his individual marker. You put it into the mixer, and Polisi, he's caught in a really dangerous and uncomfortable position because he needs to make a play on this ball because there is traffic behind him. Gets it all wrong, and it's an uh-oh moment, but the Roots will take it 2-0, 86th minute.
Just got to create. Even last week in the win 2-1 over Monterey Bay, they were the beneficiaries on that night of an own goal. Armanakis will be the one sacrificed here for Ilya Alexiv in the substitution for the Roots. You and I were on the call last week for that game against Monterey Bay. I'll reintroduce an idea we talked about: assist for the player who plays the ball before the own goal. 100%.
I heard one the other day as well. If a goalkeeper takes longer than 6 seconds, it's a corner kick.
I like that. That has been talked about. Behind it, if you would remove Polisi from the equation there, the player behind him for the Roots scored, which would have been an assist for Gaginho. When he does stuff like that, the Gaginho nickname rings true, and you always like to bring it up. Picked up by Polisi, trying to make amends for that own goal at the other end. Deflected out for a Detroit City corner. From the corner, and away by Green. On the volley, Villanueva saved by McIntosh. That is his first official save of the day. First and only shot on target for Detroit City.
Really well taken here from Villanueva. First, the technical ability, the presence of mind, and the composure Because so many times when this ball pops out, players elect to hit it first time, but he composes himself, sets up nicely, and notice how he swings with that looping motion when he makes contact to give it that up and down. Fortunate for Kendall McIntosh, straight at him and an easy save.
Barring a total collapse here, the Roots will have a chance to do something next week again that they've never done, because they've joined USL Championship, win 4 straight games. That encompasses any competition, just regular season play. They've never had a 4-game winning streak. They'll be home against Phoenix next week, and home against Loudoun the week beyond that. 3 straight home games for the Roots to try and rack up some points in a very tight Western Conference. As it stands, the Roots would only be 8 points out of first. Where would they be? 10th. They'd be in 10th, and they'd be 8 points out of first. One more change here for Oakland. Almasnawi coming off, E.J. Johnson coming on. Oakland are in 10th and 8 points out of first. Detroit City are in 6th, and they're 17 points out of first. Again, more of a testament to Lou City than anything else at this point. Shows you the difference between the two conferences right now. 4 minutes of stoppage time tacked on, brought to you by KTVU Plus. Of Let's Go Oakland ring out among this crowd. You talked earlier, Ricky, about making this place a fortress, something they've talked about here in their first year at the Coliseum. You do that by winning games in front of these fans and inspiring them and giving them a reason to show up. It was bleak, very bleak early on. That leads to the coaching change. The team has responded. In the 5th game for that man, Benny Feilhaber. In all competitions, they're about to move to 3-1-1. They had 3 wins combined in the entire time before that this year under Gavin Glinton. It took Benny 5 games to do what was done previously in 13. 3 total wins. City have still not won a game on the road since April 12th. This seems just about done. It was interesting early, they were doing so well away from home. Played through, McIntosh has it. For a team that over the years has been terrific at home and so-so on the road. Early this year, Darren Smith's banging in goals. You're winning a couple of games on the road. You're taking care of business at home. Everything was coming up Detroit City, and you looked at that team as a team that you wondered, hey, can they push Charleston and Louisville in the upper tier of the Eastern Conference? But it has completely fallen out from under them since then.
Danny Dicchio is just looking for a little bit of consistency. It starts with the team sheet. The starting 11 needs to find their rhythm and understanding and growing with one another. And doing that, said it in the open, need to go back to the basics. Every time you would play against a Detroit City side, it was saying that they're going to work their socks off. They're going to be extremely hardworking and they're going to be intense. So as an opponent, you had to match that. And that was always going to be the building block one when a team would play against Detroit City. And it hasn't been the case over the last couple games. And doing that, the results have suffered. So for Danny Dicchio, you need to look at this side in terms of your defensive unit. 18 goals coming into this game, 20 now. That is far too many for a team that historically was so stingy and so difficult to break down. Because there is talent on this roster, but the problem is you're not going to start to see results unless you stop looking at goals.
Not only that, you're not going to see many results unless you find somebody else to supplement in the attack with Darren Smith. You had that in Ben Morris. Even so, Ben Morris was off to a slower start than he had last year. And that put to an end with the injury he picked up that'll cost him the season. Have to find somebody else to step up in that role now. And again, they have Sebastian Guenzati, but as you slot him in, or as you slot, tonight it was Connor Rutzen as a starter. Now you lose that depth off the bench to impact games when you are down as they were tonight. It's a trickle-down effect. Will they find somebody to replace what they're missing?
Just off also the type of profile that Ben Morris was. Played the position a lot different than Darren Smith. Was able to drop in and be more of a combination forward, but also very ruthless when he got into that final third. Benzati is more of a player that you need to play in to feet and have runners off of him. Darren Smith, more of a slasher, so you need to bring a player that's almost as a hybrid that can play deeper, that can play 9, and that is a big win for the Oakland Roots here.
Goes final, 2-0 over Detroit City. 3 straight wins in all competitions for the Roots. Their first 3-game winning streak in a little over a year.
Whatever Benny Feilhaber said at halftime really struck a chord with the Oakland Roots in terms of the mentality, but tactically he got this game right in this second 45 minutes. He brought Gomez in. Now you had the congestion of the central location, which really confused Detroit City in their defensive structure. Panos Armanakis scored a fantastic goal. You created an own goal. Great win for the Oakland Roots and good performance in the second half.
Clean sheet brought to you by Family Laundry, an Oakland-based business serving commercial and residential customers with pickup and delivery laundry services throughout the Bay Area. It was an easy one for McIntosh, only had to make 1 save in the effort, but still made it when he was called upon it. And the fighter of the match, the other end of the field, is Panos Armanakis. He gets the goal that goes down as the game-winning goal. It's his first in a Roots uniform.
The positioning here for Danny Gomez, he draws in Jope, and that allows Armanakis from about 23 yards out. First touch sets him up for success, and it allows him just to step into it and notice the bend away from Herrera. Great strike from Armanakis, and he is our fighter of the match.
Brought to you by Modelo, a reward for those with a fighting spirit. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. And it's good to see that they did not do the fight with the corner flag celebration that they did last week, because the corner flag actually knocked out Maury Donor. How about that last week? Well, it's another win for the Roots, another reason for the fans to celebrate. We're back in a moment to wrap things up from the Coliseum.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are 2 of the most important things that you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, visit oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You might not be related, but you're still family. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart and a whole lot of muscle. Because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
City by the Bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge. A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
Final score brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. A 2-0 win for the Roots. It's why they're all smiles, especially that man, Panos Armanakis, who finds his first in a Roots uniform. It goes down as the game winner. Scored another goal.
All they needed for the Oakland Roots. Panos Armanakis doing a good job at just filling in the gaps. And his first touch allows him just to step into it and get it on his preferred left foot. This will be a fantastic view. Notice how it just bends away from Herrera and it dips at the last second. No chance for the goalkeeper. You see what it means to every single player for the Oakland Roots. And Apamas Lamanakis, again, involved, puts the ball in a dangerous area. Gagi doing everything right. You put it back into the mixer and just cause some chaos. Polisi, you feel for the sub, he gets it all wrong, and it's an uh-oh moment. But the Oakland Roots score 2 goals and take 3 points.
And it's a big win because they when all is said and done. Thanks for joining us this evening. The Oakland Roots and Bart want to make sure you get home. Visit bart.gov/planner to plan your trip now. For the crew that makes this possible, broadcast partner Ricky Lopez Espin, I am Joe Malva saying so long for now. The Roots take this one by a 2-0 final. They'll look to do something they've never done next week, and that is win 4 games in a row. Tomorrow on CBS Sports Network, it's Charleston and North Carolina. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.